This is sponsored by Squarespace. Thank you.
Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane, hold tight all the Slime Alliance that's locked in and into...
What do you think you're doing? I told you to wait next door. Bentlegs is in there, sitting on his own, tears in his eyes. So this is episode 68. One more episode till episode 69, as you all like to keep reminding me in the comments, like there's some sort of significant thing that's going to happen in episode 69. I can tell you now, there isn't. I have no idea what the significance of the number is. It could be, it'd be a little bit embarrassing, but I think it might be something to do with the Apollo 11 landing on the moon. Maybe I need to make like a spaceship or something. I don't know. I mean, that's my best guess. I have no idea what the significance is. Yeah, but once it's over, you can all stop commenting, 10 episodes to go, 9 episodes to go. And then someone mentioned, 8 episodes to go. And then there was the 7 episodes to go and the 6 episodes to go. And then you can stop commenting about 5 episodes to go. And you get the point, right? It's quite annoying. Just 1 minute. What was that, Cat? The significance of the number 69 is that it's a... I'm not going to repeat that on here. I mean, honestly, why would someone do something like that? That's just disgusting. You need to go wash your mouth out, especially if you've done... People really do that. Anyway, Theo Kane from Slimehouse TV is just in the other room there, where he's supposed to be. And he's waiting to play a game of TONKS. I promised him a game of TONKS. He wouldn't stop nagging, so we're going to play a game of TONKS. And I'm going to film it. But that won't be till, later. First of all, we need to go through a little checklist of what we need to play a game of TONKS. I've already made my TONKS, as you may know. You may have already seen the episodes before. If you haven't, go back and watch them. I'm going to make some terrain today. Some nice, friendly, safe, hygienic terrain. Because TONKS, you need terrain, and I haven't got any terrain suitable for TONKS. That's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to leave Theo in there just for a little while. He won't be in there long. And I'll get this terrain done, and then we'll get it all together and go play. You really are disgusting, aren't you? Especially with your diet. I mean, who would go near that? I mean, that's just revolting. It's disgusting. I'm just going to get on with it. So let me look at the TONKS rulebook quickly. A lovely little book it is. Look at that. It's very nice and colourful. But what we need. So we have 2 little tanks with rotating turrets. Yeah, we're good. We've got that. 3 roughly rectangular obstructions and 2 squarish obstructions. So 4 inch by 2 inch and 2 inch by 2 inch. We can do that. Because I make stuff. That's what we do here. That's fine. So it is time to sketch. You lot wanted the sketch part kept in, so I'm keeping it in because you lot seem to really like it. Now I need to come up with some ideas for obstructions, and obviously the first thing I come up with is rocks, because rocks are quite obstructive. Imagine there was a giant rock in the middle of your living room. That'd be quite obstructive. That'd be quite annoying. It might be in front of the TV. Now, I quite enjoy drawing rocks. I'm not very good at it, but how many different kind of rocks can I draw really to make this interesting? There's like a bumpy one, and like a little, like that one, and there's like a round one. I mean, they're just rocks. Okay, they're rocks. But that's the first idea for my terrain. So there we go, rocks. Just in case you didn't know what they were. And barricades, apparently. I forgot to record me drawing the barricades, but we all know what barricades are. We were all in the Great War. Don't pretend. My audience is pretty old. It's fine. So my next obstruction idea, my TONK terrain idea, is giant robot pieces half buried in the earth, because there's a bit of narrative there. It kind of fits the world I'm building, and it would be really cool and interesting to build. So old robots? Question mark. Now I get a lot of people saying, like, when are you going to go back to the old rusty stuff, Bill? You know, you started to paint things like, well, I mean, how dare you, Bill? You're actually attempting to paint things. I know, I do apologise. And this could be the episode where I go all rusty and crusty, because I kind of miss it a little bit. So I'm thinking like rust piles, just piles of junk, because I really want to go crusty and rusty for an episode. Just the one off, you know. Ancient junk piles. No question mark there. I didn't put a question mark on that one. I don't know why. Maybe I was quite sure I was going to do rusty junk piles. But, you know, thinking about it now, while I paint this and let the ink from the fountain pen bleed in and not really work out, I'm thinking I might combine old robots with ancient junk piles. You know, I could have crusty, rusty and giant robot parts. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting to me. Let me know what you think. Shout at the screen. No, I can't hear you. It doesn't really work that way. But yeah, I think ancient junk piles mixed with old robots, I think that's what I'm going to do. So this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is a website where you go to make websites. Now, if you have no idea how to make a website, you don't know how to do with a HTML, is it HTML? I'm not sure. And you just want to make a website about things like, you know, like a pickle website, for example. Like, yeah, like that, like pickle perfection. That's it, Bill. Click there. If you just want to make a website that's quick and easy and clean and nicely designed, then go to Squarespace. I made this website in, like, you know, it must have been like 0.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure, but it was really easy and it looks pretty good, and I will add stuff to it at some point. But yeah, if you want to make your own website, there's a sale going on at Squarespace. There's a little link down below. Go and have a look after the episode, obviously. Now, my old-time viewers will know what this is. This is like a tile. In the pound shop in England, you can buy these laminate floor tiles, like, you know, 3 in a pack. I mean, you'd have to buy like, I don't know, 30 packets to maybe do a quarter of your kitchen, but it doesn't matter. They make really good little bases because, you know, water doesn't get absorbed in, it doesn't really flex or warp with glue, and they cut really easy like that. So there we have 3 2-inch by 4-inch pieces and 2 2-inch by 2-inch pieces. Now they're quite square and blocky. That's kind of, they're supposed to be like that, but I'm going to make them a little bit more organic. As long as I stay within the boundaries of these bases, I will be fine. Now, I don't know about you, but I do have a couple of plastic boxes just underneath my desk where I just throw my offcuts, any bits of old plastic that I'm probably not going to use for something decent, you know, but I can use for piles of junk, like, you know, this thing, and, you know, old robot parts. I think I always had junk piles in mind for all this stuff. I mean, they're all pretty interesting shape-wise, and look, I just don't like throwing things away, okay? I have a problem. So for someone who doesn't like glue guns, I've been using glue guns a lot lately. It works well for stuff like this, but, you know, you just need to wait for it to heat up. So, you know, it takes a little while for it to heat up. I mean, it gets a little bit, how are you? I mean, it's slightly awkward. I don't really want to, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, we could probably do something else. I don't want it to be uncomfortable between us, you know. I don't like just the awkward silence, but, you know, let's just, yeah, we'll go do something else. Yeah, okay. So we're going to use some tin foil, or aluminium foil, or aluminum foil if you want to invent your own chemical element, Americans. I'm recently just realising how useful tin foil is in your workshop. I've been using it a lot. Everyone should have a roll of tin foil. It's honestly, it's just really useful. You know, if you have a sandwich, you just want to wrap it up quickly while you're working. But also you can use it to bulk out builds, like what I'm doing here. So this is old conduit wire, a really good piece of junk to have if you can find some of that stuff. You can buy it cheap online, and it just looks really cool. There's no right way or wrong way of doing this. I'm literally just going to pile junk in a pile and make it look interesting. Like this little electrical doodad. I don't know what that is, but it looks like junk. Now, obviously, a junk pile wouldn't be complete without some wires. Now, this is some garden wire. You can find that in a pound shop, and some generic holiday wire, obviously, because, you know, I always use it, let's be honest. So this has all been hot glued together, but I like to go over it with some super glue, some really runny, watery super glue, just to keep it intact. And it also adds a nice crust, you know, a nice bit of crust. Now this piece I've tried to make it look like an old sort of engine of some kind, like a booster that's just kind of been left in a pile of junk. You know, I like to make them look like something, even though they are just piles of junk. Someone kindly sent me this luminous skull in my PO box. I think it's a bit possessed, maybe. I don't know, but we're going to use it anyway to make a giant robot head. It must be coming up to Halloween season, I think. I love Halloween. It's probably my favourite foraging season in the local pound shop. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's give it a little robot eye. And we need some EVA foam, I think. Just some metal panels to make this skull look a little bit less organic. I actually forgot to put the tinfoil down before the skull, but it's okay, we can just jam it in there. You know, when in doubt, just jam it in. Just like your dad. Kind of looks like it's smoking a cigar. That was unintentional. I'm sure it won't look like that later, but there we go. Big giant robot skull. This is part of a spray bottle now. I did a whole video about all the useful parts in a spray bottle. I must have used this for something. There's a bit of paint on there. I'm not sure what I used it for, but you know, I still spray bottles. Anyone wants to know what to get to start scratch building? It's spray bottles. Spray bottles have so many good parts. I don't work for the spray bottle company. I know that's been talked about, and you know, I see it in the chat sometimes. I honestly don't. I don't work for them. I volunteer my efforts for free. You know, because spray bottles just best invention in the last 50 years. I don't know how long a spray bottle's been about. I'm really waffling now. That's because I'm literally just making another pile of junk, and it's quite hard to talk about another pile of junk because it's just, you know, let's make another pile of junk, shall we? I kind of lied there. This isn't just a boring pile of junk. We're going to go for a giant robot hand kind of reaching out the earth, and we're going to use some old felt tip pens that I've used up colouring in my colouring book. Now this is the same method I use for bead bots, basically. A bit of armature wire, just thread the beads or the bits of felt tip pen over the top, and there we go. We have like an adjustable hand. It looks a bit rubbish at the moment, but let's make it a little bit more handy. There it is, look. Looks kind of like a hand, if your hand was made out of felt tip pens. Now talking of my PO box, I do get some interesting things sometimes. Someone sent me a bag full of tiny wooden hexagons. I think they're hexagons. But yeah, a bag full of them, like thousands. I'm not sure where they're from, what they're for, but we're going to use them as like bolts. But thanks for sending that, person who sent that. So these are studs that you put into your leather jacket, I think, to make you look hard. You stick them in the shoulder to make it look like there's little metal stud. I don't know why people do it, you know, but we're going to use them as knuckles for my robot hand, because that makes more sense to me. And there we go, a giant robot hand. It was probably attached to that giant robot skull at some point. So this is a spray bottle head that I use. I think it was like one of my first ever scratch builds. I never did it on the channel. I didn't have a channel back then, but it's when I was kind of learning how to stick things together, and not very well, because it kind of just fell apart, which is handy because I'm going to use it in this junk pile. No one wanted to watch me do that stuff back then, but you all seem to want to watch it now, which is good. You know, I assume you're enjoying the video. You're still watching, unless you're one of those people that just begrudgingly watches the channel, like some weird kind of sadistic thing where they just hate me, but they just like to watch me make stuff and ramble on, like a kind of weird penance, you know, like that guy in the Da Vinci Code that keeps whipping himself, like that, you know, weird. And here we are, 5 pieces of junky terrain for my Tonks game. You're welcome. I'm just going to interrupt the episode to talk about, you know, the episode, which is quite handy really. It's not really an interruption. You could almost say it's part of the episode. But yeah, I think I'm going to go rusty and crusty today. Really rusty and crusty, like a ridiculous amount. You know, the amount that a lot of people would complain about. It just put a load of brown on it. Way back when I started this channel, I did a lot of rusty stuff because I wasn't very good at painting. I thought, you know, and it's an aesthetic that I like. I liked, it was all kind of in keeping and all that. That was my excuse. And now I've started developing my painting skills. I'm a bit better at painting. But part of me just wants to go really rusty and crusty. So that's what we're going to do. For you old schoolers, you know, you old patrons that have been around forever, that you like the rust. You were here for the rust. Yeah, I'm going to do the spill again. What? I have to promote the channel. I have to keep the channel. Look, you want to eat, don't you? Not that. We're not eating that. I'm talking about something completely different. If you want to keep this channel going, you enjoy my content, consider buying a t-shirt on my merchandise store, buying some stuff on Amazon wishlist, joining Patreon. You know, just a couple of quid a month. Like if you were in a coffee shop and you saw me just across the way and you'd be like, oh my God, it's Bill. You might not sound anything like that, but you know, you might want to buy me a coffee. And that's just the same thing, you know. It's like buying me one coffee a month, you know, throw me a couple of quid on Patreon. It keeps the channel going. I can still declare this as my employment, which means I get to make more videos, which means you get to watch videos, you know. Think about how many minutes of my face you've seen. You know, if I had to look at your face for like hours on end, I'd probably feel obliged to throw you a couple of quid. But anyway, let's get on with the build. I know Theo's waiting patiently next door. I didn't leave the window open, so it's quite warm. I think he can figure out a window. I'm sure he can. I'm sure he can. Anyway, I better get on. So this is a pyrography tool. I'm going to use this to melt some plastic. So, you know, the weathering part of the video is usually my favourite part, but always wear a gas mask when you're going to have fun, you know, even in the bedroom. But honestly, yeah, melting things, destroying things is one of my favourite things to do. You know, a few bullet holes here, you know, a few dents, maybe a few animal scratches, some blast marks. You know, it's quite fun to do. And, you know, it's a junk pile. It's the perfect opportunity to do it. But honestly, wear a mask because these fumes, I mean, who knows what sort of plastic I'm melting here. I mean, the spiders are just going all over the place. They're just, they either love it or they really hate the smell. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to tell with the, you know, the spider's vacant expression, cold, dead eyes, and, you know, I'll just assume they enjoy it because they don't seem to want to leave. So Fix and Grout is a pound shop pre-mixed grout mix. It's like a poly filler thing. It's usually like a pound a pot, and I've got loads of it sitting behind me. I haven't used it in a while, so I'm thinking I'm going to use it today instead of crusted. Basically, I'm just going to mix some paints in there, so if it chips away, it's still kind of brown and dark underneath, mixed with some sand. You know, the usual. So I'm going to use this mix basically just to fill any gaps and just to really crust up the base of this thing, and a few bits on top, but basically just really crust it up, you know. Now, I know I was known for making really rusty, crusty stuff to begin with, and obviously I got a little bit bored of doing the same thing, but I kind of missed it. You know, I do want to make crusty, rusty things sometimes, and, you know, big old ancient wrecks and robot junk is going to be crusty and rusty, so this is the perfect opportunity. Plus, you lot can stop going on about it in the comments. Save that for later. So I gave all the pieces a nice zenithal highlight, you know, black and then a white spray paint from above, and they're all nice and primed, and they're ready to be nice and rusty and crusty. Now, burnt sienna is my rust colour of choice. I water this down a lot. I basically want it to be a wash. I'm just going to wash every single piece. Now, this is like a base coat, and with the zenithal and the watered down acrylic, it's all going to shine through, and it's just going to look really nice and rusty and crusty. If I mention it's going to be rusty and crusty yet, you know, I'm going to make the old Bill proud. Just don't do it. So this is my new paint palette. It's one of those fidget toys, you know, one of those This one in particular is a pencil case. Now I've put all my nice brushes in there. It's made of silicone and it works really well as a palette because it just, once you finish, you can just pop the old crusty paint out from the other side. I saw this tip on Tabletop Minions. But what are you talking about, Bill? Paint time with Bill is boring time with Bill, and boring time with Bill is story time. So I'm going to try and think up some kind of lore I can tell you while I paint these things. Basically, I think I might talk about why there is so much buried junk on this planet and why it's so rusty. So a long, long time ago in this made-up universe, in my made-up head, there was a giant galactic war. It was essentially like Warhammer 40,000. Everyone just killed everyone. All anyone knew was war. Until, it stopped and there was peace. And then everyone decided, look, there's enough war now we want a universe of peace. They came to some agreement. Everyone's nice and hippy-dippy, and they decided, look, we've got all of these weapons of war, these giant robots and flying vehicles and guns and weapons and all sorts of weird tech that we don't want anything to do with anymore. So every civilization that was involved in the war decided to, join together and agreed to dispose of anything warlike, anything that's like destructive, and dump it on this planet called Tapu. Now Tapu is in a place called the Black. It's like a really extended part of the galaxy, and it's really far away. No one lives there. Basically, it's just like a little dump ground that they can just chuck everything, leave it there to rot. So the big dump happened. This is a momentous occasion where everyone just dumped all of their war machines on this one, apparently abandoned wasteland planet. And then basically the universe was at peace. It was all happy and flowers and hippy-dippy and, there was no war, no killing, no weapons, nothing like that. You couldn't even get hold of a gun anymore. Basically everything was dumped on this one planet and forgotten about. Obviously, there are certain people in the universe that, may find that a little bit boring. They might find that a little bit Marks and Spencer's. They might not want to go there. It's nice, but it's just a little bit too, there's no edge, It's not very interesting. So they all head to Gutterlands to start a new life. As for the rust, well, some metals are very resistant to rust, especially in the future. So the civilizations came up with this plan to genetically engineer a bacteria that could oxidize metal and help dispose of it quicker. So they sent that down on the planet and let it go to work. But lots of machines still remain. Luckily for the adventurers of Gutterlands, they can go there and they can still find some technology, if they're lucky, that works. Some relic from the past. But that's it. Let's do some oil wash. I haven't done an oil wash in a while. Maybe this oil wash is a little bit thick. I'm going to use a sponge and some white spirit to kind of wash off the excess, but I won't show you that because, you've been sitting there long enough. Let's just move on to the glamour shots, shall we? So there we go. That's the build. All nice, rusty and crusty. Yeah, felt good. I actually used a little bit of pigment powders, my homemade pigment powders, which you can see in a video. I'll probably link it there, and you can go watch that. That's how you make your own homemade pigment powders. And I had to matte spray the whole thing because it's going to be handled quite a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down below. My patrons at the moment are building their own terrain. I might share that next episode. Next episode will be me playing a game of Tonks with Theo. Now I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. I have never done a battle report before. A lot of people have been asking, for a battle report, so that's what you're going to get because I'm just a man of the people. I'm just a man of the people, specifically the people that throw money my way, but just don't touch me. Anyway, glamour shots coming up, and I'll see you in episode 69, which isn't going to be special in any way. It just happens to be a coincidence that Theo Kane's going to be there at the same time on episode 69. That's a little bit awkward. I probably won't mention it to him. I'll keep it quiet. I'll see you next time. So there we have some rusty, crusty terrain for Tonks. Now they're all a bit rectangular and square in shape, which I mean, they're supposed to be, because that's kind of what you need for Tonks. But I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed painting the stuff like this. It's fun, liberating. And I've got to remember, Theo's just next door waiting for a Tonks game, which is going to be the next episode. I hope you come back to watch that. I haven't done a battle report on this channel before. I hope I can make it interesting in some way. But a lot of you have been asking for a battle report with Tonks, so thank you, patrons. I love you, patrons. I don't know what else to say. I just, you patrons have kept this channel going, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy being a patron too. Do you remember that time when we did that